I'm super excited to welcome to the show today a lady who I'm just excited to talk to because we share a lot of common interests and passions. So, welcome to the show, Genecia Alluora.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you for having me on your show.
yeah, I'm super excited to have you here. You have done just some amazing things. And I always like to start and sort of talking about the why. Like, what's the why behind what you're doing every day, Janisha?
Wow, one of the biggest why I'm doing what I'm doing today is because of my mom. Because I really want to leave a legacy and continue her legacy of empowering other women, being in the leader in the community, guiding and coaching and mentoring, helping them to own and love the F word, being fabulous, having freedom, financial independence, and a happy family. And also for myself, I really want to transform other people's lives with the network Soul Rich Woman because number one, I've gone through my own rat race as a healthcare professional. And when SARS happened to me in 2003, I realized that life is really more than what I'm doing at the moment. And I decided to leave and to move into entrepreneurship. And number two was because when I went from offline to online, I really had a lot of trouble putting pieces together back in 2012, 2013. And I really want to shortcut women's success to really look into how to help them to progress with mentoring and of course with our products and services as well. Last but not least, helping them to look into where is their dream at. You see, when we first start running at the racetrack, a man and a woman, we all thought we are both on the equal starting foot or starting ground. But in front of us is always the family, the kids, the household chores, the
Right.
homework, the washing of the clothes, the everything else. It's like a 24/7 mom. We're never paid well. So sometimes we forget who we are as a person. We forget what we stand for and what we thought that was important in our lives before. Giving women the opportunity and platform to leap off. And like I said, success is never about glorious wins. It's about taking a step back and allowing other women to shine as well. Because alone you are strong, together we are unstoppable.
Yep, absolutely. And now, for anybody who's listening and that's been listening to the show for a while, you probably understand right at this moment when I said that Janisha and I had some similar passions, you understand why. Because I share very much that common seeing women and independence and being able to be unrestrained from the things that they want to do and really taking control of their talent and expressing it in the world. Now, to hear you talk a little bit about you jumping into entrepreneurship from being a healthcare professional. So, talk just a little bit about that moment, Janisha, when you were like, okay, I'm done with this. It's time for me to go and just do this entrepreneurship thing. Talk about that.
In fact, my first taste of entrepreneurship was when I was about 18 years old, when I was going through, teaching yoga, aerobics, and line dancing. Because when I was 14, I had to support myself through school. And I was working 5 days a week and waitressing and odd jobs on the weekend. So I knew I had to double my income along the way because when exams are near, I can't be teaching 5 days a week. So I told myself, how can I make more within an hour? And then I thought about the idea. I said, okay, let's put a group of instructors together and supply them to events and corporates so that they can teach while me making a small commission out of every single one of them. And they could multiply my income within an hour. So that was my first taste of entrepreneurship for myself. And then later on, when I went into the healthcare profession as an occupational therapist, I really wanted to help more people in the way that I was trained to do as an occupational therapist. I was working with children with learning difficulties. I was also working with adults with traumatic injuries in rehabilitation centers. So in this journey, I love my job, but I knew that my soul was calling out to me more. And that was why eventually when SARS happened, I told myself, I said, I could have moved on passed on in that situation. Never know what could happen to us. And I told myself, okay, let's do it. And that was when I took a leap of faith, not knowing anything. And then I went into doing pageant. I was in a beauty pageant. I joined Miss Singapore Universe and I came in runner up. And then later on, going for Miss Singapore International and winning the title and representing Singapore. So that opened up doors for me to do something different and segue to being an image consultant and doing stuff. But then again, you know what happened? I was trapped because I started really young when I was 14. When I look at my journey, I had this midlife crisis, like quarter life crisis. And I was asking myself, do I want to be teaching my whole life, physically standing there to a class of 20, 50, 100 people? Or can I scale myself and multiply myself to 1,000, a million people where I could share my knowledge with? And that was when I started to explore. I must stop trading time for money. I work, I get paid. I work, I get paid. I don't work, I don't get paid. So that to me is not why I became an entrepreneur. For me, being an entrepreneur is more freedom. I want more time with my family. I want to spend time any time of the day with my mom. I want to go shopping with her, have lunch, have dinner, and yet be there with my family. So to me, that anchors me and that drives me to really explore how to go online in that direction.
And talk a little bit about, because I'll tell you some of the things that I see sometimes. And I work with corporate women in particular who want to make the leap into full-time entrepreneurship. And I sometimes see this mindset of just almost defeat. Oh, I want to do that, but at the same time, that doubt of, is that really possible? I want to do that, but is that really possible? Like, it keeps them in this sort of cycle of, oh, I'm almost there. Oh, no, I can't do it. Has that something that you've seen from some of the people that you've touched and helped? And how is that looking on your end?
There are definitely what we call the little voices that is holding us back. I think that are the little nasty monsters that are lurking around the dark corners in our brain. That's quite funny. I think we all must address them somehow, but we all have our own blind spots. We'll never know what we don't know, and we'll never know what we have not encountered. Think about Johari's window. We'll never know what is in the conscious or unconscious if we have not even moved out of the window, right? So I would say really have a community, get a mentor, someone who can address and guide you along with those blind spots and be able to take you from where you are now to where you want to be much, much faster. Regardless of what that little talks has been going around your brain, you're afraid, you're worried, always look for role models in the community. Find a mentor who has been there, done that. Borrow their courage. Like, "Hey, lend me that courage. Lend me that."
Be
that
open to embrace it.
yeah, so that I can move along. So it's always that 5 people that you hang out with the most. I think that is key.
Yes, and that proximity is power, right? You want to get there, you want to be in the space. To your point, who are you surrounding yourself with that help you jump into that space before you're there, before you're ready? Yeah, I love that. I love it. So, talk to me about maybe what's been your biggest challenge on your entrepreneurial journey, because you have gotten to a place of super success. Just talk to me about what's been your biggest challenge on your journey.
Wow, there are so many, I would say, on my journey. But one of the biggest ones I would say is I think it will be just me being the choke point of the business, because when we grow, we must delegate. I think that I could do everything myself before I started growing the business. I thought that I could do everything best. I'm the number one in the industry. I'm the number one in my own trade. I think I can do it. But you see, your time is limited and your resources are limited. And if you were to just be that one woman show, you can't scale, you can't grow. So for me, I was the choke point. And then, like I said, I had a mentor whom guided me and said that, look, if you really want to earn your million to the second million, the 5 million, and the 10 million, you got to really look into scaling and learn the art of delegating.
Mhm.
So I embraced the art of delegation. I learned how to write out tasks and write down processes, even though I'm a very high I person in DISC. And to sitting down to writing, becoming a C person, that means literally listing out the stuff and to set up the whole processes, it was not easy. But by starting the baby step first, allowed me to become the queen of delegation, I would say. Today, we have a team of 21 all around the world. And it's remote. It is not possible if I have not taken the first step to grow the team. If I've not broken the chains of my limiting belief that I could not do it or I am just the best I could be, then how can I have grown? So one advice I would share with those of you who think about, I'm a one-woman show, I can't hire, I got not enough money. Hey, if you go for manicure, pedicure, do you go for massage? Do you buy lipstick and excessive makeup that's lying around? Do you spend additional like takeaways? All this little money are hidden somewhere in your spending and expenses, even your Netflix subscription. Let's
Right.
put it that way. Somewhere, if you are able to squeeze that $50 out, you can outsource, you can delegate. Even if you're a one-woman show, you are hustling, you can find someone to solve that one problem for you. It could be bookkeeping, whatever that may be, social media, 4 hours a week or 4 hours a day, depending on what is your budget. $50 is all you need to get started, to hire that somebody so that you can function in your zone of genius while your assistant is doing the work and for you to make money online.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week. I was doing a live in my group, and somebody had asked the question about just the question was around remote tools and tools that you use for remote team management. And it had spurred me because there were so many people that weren't at the point of hiring. They were still kind of, what am I even going to do? I don't, I want to be an entrepreneur, I don't know what I'm doing. And so it had inspired me to do this piece about hiring a team, just where you are today. And to your point, I think that's something that people don't realize, that it doesn't require you to be out the gate paying thousands of dollars to bring somebody on. So I love that you brought that up, because that's a big one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge one.
Yeah. So talk a little bit, Genecia, about the biggest win, or like the thing that has gotten you super excited to this point on your journey.
One of the, I think the biggest drive factor for me will be always to see other women succeed because I thrive on that. I think it's addictive for me to really
Like,
see other women succeeding. It's like winning a race, winning a competition, winning on their in their life and owning the F word. To me, that's why I talk about financial independence or that F word. So whatever that F word may be for you in your life, building a business, because for some people, it means financial independence. For some people, it means being fabulous, right? Because they had lost themselves before, and now by having a business means gaining back their confidence within them. And for some, it could be freedom, or for some, it means that having that business means family. For me, whatever the interpretation of the F word may be, it allows me to see that sparkle in the woman's eye, that diamond that is shining in her eyes. That to me is really exciting. And it really helps me to, it fuels me to get up of my bed every single morning and thinking, here's what I'm going to do next.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's that addicted to success, like other people's success. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
addicted to other people's success.
what happened? What happened? Like, takes a special person to understand. I know exactly what you're saying. No, that's so cool. Now you have what you have. I know there is a picture out there of you and Robert Kiyosaki and all this great stuff. Just talk to me about what it's like to have gotten to this point where you're arm in arm with some of the people who are responsible for just massive changes in people's thinking, like Robert Kiyosaki, in the world to this point.
I think to be able to stand with them, these giants, I think it's not just by chance and was not overnight success. I think I have really worked my ass off to be where I am today. Like I said, it's all about building the strong foundations at the beginning and then building your own strong personal brand to be the expert in your own field, that when people think about that thing in particular, they will know about you. Whether you are an influencer, a thought leader, or a business owner, what do you want people to think about you in the 7 seconds when they say, I want a beauty expert in makeup. I want someone who is a cafe retail chain expert in Asia. Oh no, who do I think about? So all these things come into play when you set yourself up for the big stage. No one is here by chance. Before I was signed on previously as a speaker with Success Resources, the largest event conference organizer in the world, where they work with Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Vaynerchuk. If I had not positioned myself, you think about that. When the student is ready, the master will appear.
Mhm.
You are ready, stage will appear.
I love that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. It's getting yourself in that position of, all right, you're ready, you own it, you know it, like you live it. Even before you see it, you are there. I love that. So when you think about personal branding and talk about personal branding in general, you just mentioned to us like, hey, be aware of what you're the expert in, what you want to be known for in 7 seconds. Are there any other tips that you would give as folks are thinking about their personal brand or how to bring that personal brand to the forefront to make it really work for them?
Find a common theme in all the hats that you were wearing. I was Miss Singapore Universe. I was Miss Singapore International. I was an image consultant. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm a daughter. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a partner of a cafe retail chain. I wear many hats. But what is ultimately the core of your belief? What is ultimately the core message that you stand for in your business and your life? Use that and find that message to represent who you are. When I said for women who love the F word, it's a cumulative overall experience that I'm providing, regardless of which business movement I'm creating or which project I'm working on at the very moment, because it draws up, going up to the same point at the top. What is it that you represent and how frequent and relevant you are speaking about those pointers? Last but not least is being consistent. I think consistency is something that is not just about posting on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and finding that anymore, because algorithm keeps changing all the time.
Right.
So you have to put yourself out there. Think about planting 100 trees. See as planting 100 trees every single year. What is 100 trees? Are you getting on the podcast show? Are you launching your own podcast show? Things that are getting out of that framework of the blue color Facebook or the LinkedIn or the Instagram. You're going to get out there to be seen and to be heard. So own a podcast, get into 100, put yourself for a start. Even though you are new, you are nobody and nobody knows who you are. But hey, we all started from zero. So get from planting one tree to 2 trees to 3 trees on the internet, so that your digital footprint continues to leave a legacy for you and it keep adding on. It's like building a forest for yourself.
I love how you describe that. And I don't think I've heard anybody describe it that way. And just that realization that it isn't just, hey, I put out this quick post, but hey, are you putting out something of value? Are you appearing here? Are you appearing there? Is there a collection of you and your expertise like out in the world that will live forever, that will allow people to be drawn? So I love that, Genecia. That's really
Thank
awesome.
you. I like that too.
Yeah, keep that one. That's good. So, last thing I really want to ask you is so far in your journey, have you come across anything that you regret or that you look back and say, man, I would have done that differently? Or it just, ugh, I would have done that differently.
A failed business partnership. I
Mhm.
think that was because I was young and I just had friends who also want to do a business together. So we did the business together. And because for me, I was already running my image consultancy business, I have some money and I put it. I was the biggest shareholder. But you see, we started off as friends. But you see, along the way, they draw salary and there's so many things that incurred. And nobody was willing to top up the money in the bank account for the company. So I had to do just that. And by the time everything was used up, it was gone. Everything was gone. Many things happened, and eventually the business failed, and things didn't turn out well, and things turned sour, right? And then accounts was very expensive. Accounting was really expensive at that point in time, and many other things that we had to deal with the IRAS as well. So in the end, that made me lose about 6 figures. I went to 6 figures in debt because of that. Was really disappointing. So my lesson learned here is this. Number one, don't do business with friends, because you could be friends drinking coffee and hang out. But when it comes to the value of money and how business is being run, are you willing to top up when the funds run low? And who is going to be responsible? Who is going to be responsible working more hours or less hours? Some people, they're like, okay, you work more hours. Why are we drawing the same salary or taking less or equal amount? So all these things need to be sorted out, right? So number two, really have a contract, black and white. We didn't have a contract at all. There was no equity mentioned, like who takes what. And if the company funds runs dry, who's going to top up? Is there any dilution of the equity? That those things were not spoken of, because just start a company, put in some money. Hey, we have a business and we're business owners. And then the third thing is really to look into who is responsible for what kind of duties and really spell it very clearly. I'm glad I didn't give up on myself, because I gave myself a second chance, which was why eventually I had a cafe retail chain and built it up with 4 other partners and grew it to 3 countries: Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and then we have 18 franchisees and licensees. And after 4 years, we exited to a public listed company.
Oh,
If
my.
I had not given myself that second chance, I would not have that cafe retail chain. So to my friends who are listening in today, really give yourself a second chance. There's no storm that you cannot conquer, because that whatever failures that you have gotten into, hey, turn your mess into that message. And I believe that you can today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, if you don't realize that second chance is second chance, go do it, go leap just after this message that you just heard from Genecia. Trust me, it is. And you know what? I love that, just a quick nugget that you had in there that I want to make sure that everybody walks away with, because as you just illustrated, it can be a costly one. Don't be too excited about the business without handling business, I think is what I heard in what you just said. Because it's easy to run away and, oh, this sounds fun and let's just do this. And who knows where you could end up. But where you can go next is totally up to you. I love that. Genecia, this has been awesome. I thank you so much for just taking the time to have this conversation. I really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show, and more power to you.
Yes. Now, if people want to get connected with you and just learn more about what you do and all this good stuff, how can they connect with you?
You can connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Genecia Alluora, GeneCialuora. And if you like podcast, I have 2 podcast shows. Number 1 for women who love the F word, and also Soul Y, SOULWHY, Secrets of the Soul Rich Woman Blueprint. And that's available at soulrichwoman.com. Last but not least, I have 2 free gifts for you, which is number 1, Secrets of Personal Branding. It's a book that I've written, and then now I've made it available for downloads for free. And number 2, how do you delegate 80% of your to-do list so that you can function in your zone of genius and make money online? And that's available on the website as well at soulrichwoman.com, soulrichwoman.com.
Awesome. And for everybody that's listening or watching, we will make sure that we put links to Genecia's stuff in the show notes at CandiceSpears.com, so you can always grab it there. Genecia, thanks again. Thanks again. Thanks again. We must do this again another time. It's always great when I get to have a conversation with another woman who just shares the passion for seeing other women in an independent and free place. I appreciate it.
Yeah, more power to you.
And for those of you that are listening and watching, you know what I always say, don't just hold on to what you have heard. Take this and take some action. And I hope you have a great day, a great evening, whenever you're listening or watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.